busy and wild weather day for people throughout our area. We will have the latest on the number of dead and how you can help your neighbors.
And in this time of need, we'll take you to one church that's stepping up to collect donations for families that can't go home tonight. 10 minutes of nonstop news and your first forecast, all before the first commercial.
This is 10 at 10.
WPSD Local 6, your breaking news and weather authority. This is Local 6 at 10 in high definition.
A deadly day for weather in our area. Storms packed a powerful punch, leaving behind a path of damage spreading through many of our local 6 states.
This will be a several-day effort to get things even back where we can get the streets passable.
Good evening. Time stands still after a deadly day of severe weather across the local 6 area. This clock stopped at 3:20 this afternoon in Brookport, Illinois, signaling the beginning of a series of blows to the small town.
And we have learned the death toll in Illinois has climbed to 5 after a string of tornadoes hit central and southern Illinois. 3 of those deaths were from Brookport. 2 people died inside the small city. A third died at a Paducah hospital from multiple blunt force traumas. She has been identified as 63-year-old Shalita Burris. The city of Brookport has a curfew in place, and a lot of the people who survived this tornado are spending the night in shelters. Our team coverage tops the news tonight. We begin with Local 6's Jason Hibbs. He spent the day surveying the damage in Brookport. Jason, what are things looking like right now?
Brianna, let me just show you some of the damage here and step out of the way. This is a perfect example of the damage caused by this tornado. If you're familiar with Brookport at all, this building has been here for decades. It's off of the main stretch. That's Highway 45 in Brookport, and you can see practically leveled. A lot of homes and businesses look just like this today. This just one of the structures in the path of the tornado. Show you something else, David, if we can pan over here. Ameren crews, I have seen Ameren trucks by the dozens coming into Brookport tonight. They are working to try to get the power lines ready for power to be restored. We are told no one is sure at this time when power will be restored. Power and, of course, natural gas shut off as well. But so many of the people who worked so hard today were not on anyone's payroll. There were volunteers from the community who stepped up to the plate. Let's look at the video we shot earlier today, and I'll show you some of them. These are nurses and medical personnel from across western Kentucky and southern Illinois. They flocked to the 3 makeshift triage centers to offer help, and boy, were they needed in a very big way. So many of the injuries sustained in this tornado were serious injuries. A lot of other people grabbed chainsaws and big equipment to help clear the roadways for ambulances, law enforcement, and emergency personnel. But one man told me he saw and heard the tornado but what happened after that is what changed his life forever.
We went outside and we seen all the trailers that was tore up and stuff like that, so we run down there. There's people laid in the street and everything else, and we dug in a trailer for about 2 hours trying to find a little boy named Timothy in there. We finally found him when they started going to get the dogs. We finally heard him just cry out, you know what I mean, and found him. We could barely hear him with all the gas and everything blowing up because all the gas, it's just terrible.
He mentioned dogs there. He's talking about canines that were helping firefighters and police officers dig through this rubble to search for people. I'm told a lot of people today were trapped beneath debris just like this for hours, and that's why so many of these injuries are so severe. A lot of people were in very serious condition. Crews are still searching through parts of Brookport tonight, making sure that no one else is trapped. I'm told they will be searching all night, just making sure, being better safe than sorry. Brianna?
We know there are a lot of people there who need help, but if people want to actually help out, what can they do, Jason?
They're being asked to go to the First Baptist Church in Brookport tomorrow morning after 6 if you want to donate water, food, money, or if you can roll up your sleeves and bring a chainsaw and help clear these roads and pick up the debris, that is needed as well. Again, that's the First Baptist Church here in Brookport. I'm live in Brookport. Jason Hibbs, WPSD Local 6.
Thanks for that update, Jason. Again, power is out throughout Brookport. That mandatory curfew will be lifted at 6 in the morning. Also, Local 6 has confirmed Massac Unit 1 schools will be closed tomorrow. Widespread storm damage shut down traffic on all roads leading into Brookport this afternoon. People were allowed to leave, but they could not come into the city.
Yeah, one of our crews managed to get inside. Others ran into some roadblocks. You are looking at the barricade right now on US 45. Now, minutes after the storm decimated Brookport, Massac County residents who dodged the twister began purchasing blankets, water, and other supplies. A massive relief effort is going on right now at First Baptist Church in Metropolis, and that is where we sent Local 6's Kendall Downing. He continues our team coverage. And Kendall, the church has collected a lot, right?
Yeah, in one word, yes. There are a ton of boxes like these, full boxes where folks went into stores and just got all these blankets and brought them here. The pastor tells me there are a number of stores in town that don't have any more blankets like this on the shelf because folks bought them up and brought them all here. And the donations, as you can see, they line the hall here at the Baptist Church. The shelter is pretty quiet now. Now, this is the official Red Cross shelter, and they will be open as long as they need to be.
If we're here tonight, we're on the easy side of this thing.
Pastor Joe Buchanan starts with a moment of prayer. Then church members get to work carrying and sorting supplies.
Right. Well, we've been through this before with the flood just a few years ago, so it's just a way that we can show God's love to the community. The donations came in tonight car by car and fast from people in western Kentucky and southern Illinois. The pastor says he's amazed by the tremendous response.
Yeah, I think the people here have such a great sense of community. When someone's hurting in the community, they want to go and help.
First Baptist Metropolis will be an official Red Cross shelter, offering meals and housing residents and volunteers. Buchanan says they'll stay open to take care of everyone.
That means we've got to be here for a week. We're planning to be open for the rest of this week, 9 to 5, to distribute things. But if it takes longer than that, we'll stay as long as it takes.
And the church handed control of this shelter over to the Red Cross. It is now the Red Cross shelter. And I am told that victims will be coming in here likely through the night as some of them are released from area hospitals. Already, church volunteers are preparing in just a few hours to come in and start preparing meals for the morning. I'm told a group of ladies will be here at 6:30 to prepare breakfast for those in Brookport. And then some ladies from Kevel, Kentucky will be in at 9 to start preparing lunch. All of that food will be heading over to Brookport, Illinois, where folks are going to be continuing the recovery process tomorrow. For now, we're reporting live from the mobile newsroom in Metropolis, Illinois. Kendall Downing, WPSD Local 6.
Yeah, Kendall, sometimes it takes events like this to bring people together, and you specifically saw that in Harrisburg last year as well. So, Kendall, thank you for your work. Now, as far as specific needs, First Baptist Metropolis is asking for new undergarments and diapers specifically for children aged 1 and 2 and 5 and 6. We do have a traffic alert for you now. The US 45 Brookport Bridge is closed. The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet says the bridge sustained tornado damage on the Illinois side. It will remain closed indefinitely.
Take a look at this next video coming from Star Central Mall in Marion, Illinois. Local 6's Catherine DeGisi captured people taking shelter together inside an interior hallway during the worst of the storm. That same cell that spawned a tornado in Brookport, Illinois, followed a line east through parts of Lyon County, Kentucky this afternoon. We received reports of high winds, heavy rain, even hail. Our photojournalist Chad Darnell talked to a cattle farmer there who says he lost almost everything in just a matter of seconds. This is Joe Walker's cattle farm.
It's gone.
And these were his barns.
The far one was built in last year. The middle one was built in 1947, and this one was built in 1990.
Now all three are destroyed. Walker says he watched as their walls were torn apart.
Then I heard the crash of the barns and saw the debris flying on past from them, and in about 3 seconds, it was over with.
3 seconds of nature's fury that totals up to hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage.
I lost 2 pickups, 4 tractors, just numerous farm equipment. You know, anything you work with on the farm, it was in here, so it's gone.
But Walker says one thing remains after today's storms, and that's hope.
See what we can salvage and start over again.
Beginning again after 40 years on this farm, Walker says tomorrow his job will change from cattle ranching to cleanup. The good news there in Mr. Walker's case is he does have insurance for his farm. But now I want to show you a picture of some more damage from Princeton, Kentucky. Lacey Goodbreed sent this photo in. You can see the high winds, possibly a tornado, peeled back a section of this building. Our photojournalist Chad Darnell was also in Princeton. He captured this video. Interstate 69 in that area is closed down. The wind knocked over power lines and they landed on the parkway. Crews are working to isolate and clear this area. The road is expected to stay closed overnight. Police are rerouting traffic through town using Highway 62.
And in Livingston County, emergency managers are talking with the National Weather Service about the possibility of a tornado touchdown there earlier this afternoon. 5 homes were destroyed in Livingston County, with most of the damage on Mount Zion and Paradise Roads. Livingston County Emergency Management Deputy Director Kenneth Vincent says the line of damage extends from Smithland to Dykesburg in Crittenden County. The storm ripped this home off the foundation. Family members are cleaning up the mess left behind. And Vincent says the Red Cross is stepping in to help those who need it the most. And we do have some good news as well out of Livingston County. We are told no injuries were reported there. Now, McCracken County also saw its own share of storm damage. Crystal Renee Ligon sent us this picture of the New Life Apostolic Tabernacle Church on Bell Avenue in Paducah. You can see part of that roof ripped off of the church there.
Operations at the Paducah Gaseous Diffusion Plant are stable tonight, despite some damage to the facility. Most of the damage is confined to exterior structures. A USEC spokesperson says there were no injuries and no radiological or hazardous material leaks. Production systems weren't affected either, and all critical safety systems are still functioning as intended. We do have confirmation, though, that tornadoes touched down all across the Local 6 area today, including one in Scott County, Missouri. Chief Deputy Ken Kinder says that area sustained a lot of property damage, though they didn't have any deaths or reported injuries. Power-packed winds blew over power lines in that area, and some roads are still closed tonight. Kinder says a couple of homes were completely destroyed and many are seriously damaged. Emergency management will go out first thing tomorrow morning to evaluate the damage and continue cleanup.
And in the spirit of giving in the wake of the storm, Jimmy John's in Paducah, they're getting involved to help feed the storm victims in Brookport. Get this, they made 500 subs tonight, and they will make 500 more tomorrow. They've already donated 1,000 bottles of water. Many employees even came in on their day off to help out. And we here at Local 6 are partnering with the American Red Cross to help the families recover from the storms. All proceeds from your donations will be sent to the local Red Cross chapters for local storm relief. If you would like to donate, we have posted information on how you can do that. Just head to our web channel, that's WPSDLocal6.com, and click on this story on the top of our homepage.
Well, it has been a long day across the Local 6 area, and tough to see some of those damage reports and lives changed across our region today. But tonight we are thankful that things have calmed down and we are in the clear. Ultimate Doppler 6 Live Radar, a clean sweep of the 4-state region tonight. All of these dots that just popped up there over the top of the radar, those are individual storm reports that we saw, be it a tornado report, a funnel cloud, damaging winds, or large hail. In total across the Local 6 area, 52 individual reports of severe weather, including 17 tornado reports today. Now, that does not mean we had 17 separate tornadoes. Those are reports of tornadoes and its related damage across the region. Tonight, with that front now well to the east of the Local 6 area, numbers are starting to cool off. We were in the mid-70s this afternoon. Numbers right now in the mid-50s. We're at 53 in Cape Girardeau, 57 in Princeton, 55 in Union City. When you wake up on your Monday morning, we'll see a return to sunshine. It'll feel just pretty much like a typical November morning, 41 degrees. Quite a bit colder than what we woke up to this morning. Light winds. The rest of the work week forecast, well, some ups and downs. Got some sunshine for the first few days of that forecast, so details coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Trent. Now listen to this. According to the National Weather Service, nearly 60 tornadoes have been reported throughout the Midwest. These pictures come from a man in Washington, Illinois. That's just east of Peoria. It took just minutes for an apparent tornado to wipe out a neighborhood. You're looking at the pictures there. It doesn't look like anything is left standing. There were reports of people trapped beneath buildings in this extensive damage. CNN reporter Anthony Corey took this cell phone video of the funnel cloud there. If you listen here, you can hear someone reciting the Lord's Prayer. Corey says his home was spared, but the surrounding houses were damaged.
And this tornado touched down in Long Point, a small village about 100 miles southwest of Chicago. It's one of several spotted in central Illinois. There's no word on damage or injuries in Long Point, but damage is extensive in some other areas. And speaking of Chicago, wild weather forced a delay and mandatory evacuation of Soldier Field during today's matchup between the Bears and the Baltimore Ravens. Fans cleared the stands and play was suspended because of severe weather conditions and even a tornado warning in the Chicago area. Heavy rains and lightning sent the teams back to the locker rooms, and more than 60,000 fans took shelter in the Soldier Field concourse.
A powerful line of tornado-spawning thunderstorms also moved through the St. Louis area today. You can see winds topping 60 miles per hour, really abusing the trees outside the courthouse in downtown St. Louis. Then look at this. A wall of water and wind swept around the courthouse tower, then down the street. A photographer from NBC affiliate KSDK shot this video from inside the station's garage as the storm hit.
And FEMA says it is on top of the situation and ready to help. FEMA deployed an incident management assistance team to support Illinois and other states. The agency also sent liaison officers to emergency operations centers across the Midwest with additional people on standby. FEMA says it is in contact with its emergency management partners and is monitoring severe weather 24/7 right now. And we do want to make mention here that our storm damage coverage will pick back up live from Brookport, Illinois, starting tomorrow morning on Local 6 Today.
That's right. Tune in from 4:30 to 7 o'clock in the morning for the latest on the recovery efforts, the damage reports, and what you can do to help those affected by today's storms. Well, you have been watching 10 at 10. We have lots more to come,
including being prepared to survive the storm. Why one local community says taking advantage of early warnings helped minimize the severe weather impact today.
And after a stormy Sunday, we're looking forward to some calm weather over the next few days. I'll check up your work week forecast on the other side of the break. Remember, you're watching WPSD Local 6 at 10.
Your breaking news and weather authority with Robert Bradfield, Brianna Connor, Weather Authority Trent Okerson, and Andy Waterman Sports. You're watching Local 6 at 10 in high definition.
Welcome back, everyone. I want to take you back to this afternoon and track this thunderstorm that was responsible for producing tornadoes across the Local 6 area. Kind of show you how this whole thing unfolded. We'll take you back to about 12:15 here on our Sunday afternoon. The storm that produced multiple tornadoes taking shape here over Wayne County in southeast Missouri. That's off to the southwest of Greenville. This thing really moved just about due east over the pretty much entire course of the Local 6 area from west to east. It moved across sections of Stoddard County, headed into Scott County, where it did damage around Oran and the Morley area as well here around Morley. You can see some of that damage here where it took out a mobile home as well as grain bin and did some damage around a farm. We roll on forward here about 1:30 this afternoon, producing a confirmed tornado touchdown near Olive Branch in the Horseshoe Lake Conservation Area. Then it moved into Ballard County, doing some scattered damage there. And then moving into McCracken County. This is a view from Lourdes Hospital sent in to us by one of our Facebook viewers. And you can see these dark clouds off to the west. This is actually taken from the 5th floor of the hospital. And within those dark clouds, that's where we found the tornado that did move through Brookport. That occurred around 2:24 or so. At the same time, it also did a little bit of scattered damage across the Paducah area. That storm moving on towards Smithland at around 2:37. This is the view from Tracy Buchanan Thompson of that tornado there around the Smithland area. It then progressed on toward Eddyville and Princeton, where we had a couple more touchdowns and damage reported there. Finally moving on to the east of the Local 6 area by about 3:44 in the afternoon. So that same storm was with us for the better part of 3 hours putting down tornadoes and doing damage across the Local 6 area. Pretty remarkable situation over the course of this afternoon. Right now, Ultimate Doppler 6 live radar tracking that storm system well to our east. Still some severe weather all the way east as far as not too far away from Philadelphia, Washington, D.C. But for the Local 6 area, we are in the clear for tonight. The Saladino, Oaks, and Chaff Sky Tracker Network from the U.S. Bank Building in downtown Paducah. We're seeing mostly clear skies, 59 degrees as temperatures cool down. Winds out of the west at 5 miles per hour. Not a drastic cool down behind the storm system. 59 Paducah, 51 in St. Louis, 45 in Kansas City. There is some cooler air that will continue to filter in as we go through the overnight hours. When we wake up tomorrow morning, we may be in the upper 30s around Carbondale and Cape Girardeau, low 40s for the remainder of the Local 6 areas. We go on through the course of the day. Numbers with plenty of sunshine, making it to the upper 40s and lower 50s by 9 o'clock in the morning. Numbers are around noon and the early afternoon hours in the mid to upper 50s, and that's pretty much where numbers will stay throughout the course of the afternoon. So that 3-day planning forecast for you. Lots of sunshine tomorrow, more sunshine on Tuesday. Glad to see calm weather back in that forecast. 58 your high tomorrow, down to 32 as it continues to cool down tomorrow night. 54 on Tuesday afternoon, 57 on Wednesday. Your 7-day planning forecast for the weekend is always in view. Looking at kind of an unsettled pattern for the end of the work week. Some chances for some showers on Thursday and Friday. Right now, nothing particularly heavy, just kind of a chilly rain. That rain tapers off by Saturday, and big time cool down for next Sunday as highs only reach the lower half of the 40s. Robert.
Trent, thank you. Continuing with storm coverage now, our Michaela Bruner headed to Ballard County to speak with emergency management workers about how the county was preparing for today's storm. And Brianna, when did they say they really started preparing?
Emergency Management Director Travis Holder says he got word of the severe weather from our Local 6 Weather Authority team earlier this week. They started organizing the shelters then. Their preparedness paid off today because when Michaela was in Ballard County, the storm came through fast and hard. Oscar Baptist Church in La Center, Kentucky is just one of the churches in the area that's storm ready. There were a handful of people seeking shelter in the basement when our crew got there. The weather picked up quickly with heavy rainfall, strong winds, and about marble-sized hail. Here, the wind whipped an American flagpole in the cemetery outside the church. The area saw significant property damage, but after the weather calmed down, our crew met up with Ballard County's emergency management team. Director Travis Holder says you always have to expect the unexpected when dealing with Mother Nature.
It doesn't really matter how prepared you are. There will be things that we encounter that we're not going to 100% be prepared for, but I feel that overall we are pretty prepared for whatever Mother Nature may bring.
Good news coming from that preparedness. There were no injuries reported in Ballard County.
Coming up here after the break, we'll take a different look at the storm devastation in Brookport, told by sports anchor Andy Waterman. Andy was out in the field this afternoon and followed the path of the storm across Brookport to assess that damage. We'll take a look at some cell phone pictures and video that he shot next. He's wearing two hats for us tonight. We have his story coming up next on Local 6 at 10.
We have a confirmed tornado that's moved across exit 3 on I-24. You need to be in that shelter right now. When WPSD Local 6 issued a weather authority alert day for November 17th, we made a commitment to prepare you for the worst.
We're going to be staying on the air until all threats are gone.
You've got to get to your safe place. This storm right on top of Brookport.
Massive devastation in the Brookport area.
Our thoughts and prayers are with the people of Brookport and all others affected by the storm. WPSD Local 6, your breaking news and weather authority. WPSD Local 6 declares Weather Authority alert days to prepare you before the storm. We use the power of 6 live ultimate Doppler radars to track dangerous weather, preparing you with specific information to keep your family safe. But our main threat is going to be damaging winds. Review your family emergency plan now so you can be alert when this storm rolls in, because a community prepared is a community strong.
The power of 6. Always watching, always preparing. Only on WPSD Local 6.
Y'all know normally this would be the start of their sports segment, but because of the deadly storms that went through our area today, our weekend sports anchor, Andy Waterman, went out to Brookport to help us out with news coverage.
Yeah, Andy went throughout the town there. In fact, he lived there for a while, talking with folks about damage and getting extra pictures and footage, and he joins us now with more. Andy.
Yeah, guys, actually, as you mentioned, I did live in Brookport for a little over a year last year on the west side of town on Bain Street, which I was told is about where the tornado started. When I first got there, This is the image I first saw. Debris through a truck windshield on Crockett Street. And as I walked about 3 miles around Brookport, the damage got much worse. From Crockett Street, I headed east on 4th Street and talked to the family members of the owner of this house, which was pushed about 6 inches off its foundation, and the garage was smashed. As I made my way across Ohio Street, it was obvious downed power lines were a huge concern throughout the town. On 5th Street is where I saw some of the most significant damage to that point. What used to be a large storage shed was practically destroyed, pushing much of the debris across the street. Then, as I made a right on George Street, I found what was left of H&H Feed, a company that has been in Brookport for 27 years. Owner Cathadel Harris said her store isn't open on Sunday, so luckily, nobody was inside. As I continued the path of the tornado east, the damage kept getting worse. Here's the foundation of a home at the corner of Pell and 6th Street, and there's the structure thrown 30 feet across the road. Moving east on Shanna Lane is where I found some of the most widespread damage. Several homes were reduced to just piles of debris, and the tree line on Stacy Drive was littered with remains from a handful of houses. At that point, people were urged to clear the streets as crews from over 12 different southern Illinois and western Kentucky agencies searched the area for casualties. And by the time my journey had ended, a curfew was set in Brookport. I want to send out a really big thank you to everyone there who took the time to stop and chat. Now I'll take off my news hat and put my sports hat back on. Kentucky had a little chance for a little payback tonight against Robert Morris, the team that ousted them from the first round of last year's NIT. Yeah, the Wildcats took out a lot of frustration tonight. We'll have the highlights next. Remember, you're watching WPSD Local 6 at 10. Although it's a moment many Kentucky fans would probably like to forget, it's hard to swallow last year's loss to Robert Morris in the first round of the NIT. The Wildcats had a little chance for payback against the Colonials tonight, though, and let's just say it really didn't go very smoothly for Robert Morris. John Calipari actually started all 5 freshmen tonight for the first time, and it worked out pretty darn well. Kentucky was up 15 in the first. Andrew Harrison comes up with the steal and lobs it to Julius Randle. He had 10 points and 15 rebounds tonight. 28-9 Cats. Later in the first, it's Kentucky by 22 now. They're on the run, making it look easy. James Young the alley, Aaron Harrison the oop. Aaron led the Cats with 28 points tonight to the second half now. More transition offense for Kentucky. We have a James Young liftoff. Dunks it on home, 48-26 Wildcats. Later in the half, Kentucky's up 34 now. The Cats work it inside out. Aaron Harrison knocks down the triple from the corner. Give them all 3 of those. Wildcats roll 87-49. UT Martin also in action today, taking on their Leonard Washington, who is a UT Martin alum at Florida State. Skyhawks were within 1 early, but it went downhill fast. Florida State's Devin Baker's 3 puts the Noles up 16-12. Later, UT Martin ends a 7-0 run by Florida State. Miles Taylor with a little turnaround hook. It goes. Skyhawks down 20-14. From there, Noles go on a 21-7 run. UTM's Marsha Newell drains the mid-range jumper to pull the Skyhawks with an 18-41-23. In the second half now, Tobias Dowdell with the ill-advised pass. It's picked off by Florida State's Devin Booker. Easy lay-in for him. The Seminoles have no problem with UT Martin, 89-61 the final. In other action, Illinois moves to a perfect 4-0 with an 81-55 win against Bradley today. Let's jump to some women's ball now. 7th-ranked Kentucky trying to stay perfect, hosting Central Michigan. UK was up 8 in the first, running the floor. Cassidy Evans, a little stop-and-pop jumper, puts the Cats up 30-20. Later in the half, Kentucky's up 9. The drive and kick out goes to Asia Bishop. She's a forward, but she can stroke it. 3 ball, 4 for 4 on the year for her from 3 range. Cats up 37-25. Second half, Jennifer O'Neal, a 3 of her own, puts Kentucky up 12. And the Wildcats roll 96-74. In other women's action this afternoon, 5th-ranked Louisville remains unbeaten in a tough test against 11th-ranked Oklahoma, 97-92. And Tennessee moves to 4-0 on the young year, 87-76 behind 23 points from Clarksville native Bashara Graves. Moving on to the last NASCAR Sprint Cup race of the season, where Jimmy Johnson could win his 6th title in 8 years on lap 193 during a restart. Johnson in 8th. He collides with Matt Kenseth, damages his front left fender, and drops to 22nd place. That puts him in a little bit of trouble, but on lap 228, Paul Menard comes to the pits with a tire on fire. It explodes. Nobody was injured, thank goodness. Denny Hamlin is going to end up winning this race, but Jimmy Johnson finishes 9th to win the Sprint Cup championship afterwards. He was asked about looking forward to his 7th title, which would tie him with Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt.
All of that is in the future, a 7th and 8th. Richard said 8 to 10. That's all out ahead of us, and I just don't want to focus on that yet. It's just not time. I'm going to unplug and enjoy the 6th and let it soak in, and we'll get to Daytona for testing soon enough, and I guess by then it's probably appropriate to ask the question.
Johnson finished 19 points ahead of Matt Kenseth in the final standings. We'll finish up with a little football today. Chicago needed a win against Baltimore to stay firmly in the playoff discussion. The Bears were down 4 in the 4th. The screen pass goes to Matt Forte. He works for all 9 of these yards. Touchdown, Bears. 2017 Chicago. Baltimore took it to overtime where the Bears' Josh McCown fires deep to Martellus Bennett. He picks up an extra 15 yards after the catch, which sets up Robbie. And he's as good as gold from 38 yards out. That's your game winner. The Bears get the big win in overtime, 23-20.
Thank you so much, Andy, and we appreciate you so much for pulling double duty today. Great job.
Not a problem at all.
It was a very long day. Our area saw a lot of devastation. 3 deaths in our local 6 area. We know 2 people are still at local hospitals confirmed in critical condition. So thanks for bearing with us. We'll have much more coverage tomorrow. A lot of help still needed. A lot of organizations that are taking in donations from people if you'd like to help out.
Yeah, and if you need help or want to assist as well, several churches we know in Metropolis are helping out. And again, thank you to all of those who did help, whether it was neighbor helping neighbor or stranger helping stranger as well.
That's right. Thank you all for staying up with us tonight. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good night.